Итак, здравствуйте, уважаемые участники нашего круглого стола. Мы рады приветствовать вас и начать наше мероприятие. Серия круглых столов ЕБРД «Женщины в бизнесе» посвящена последствиям COVID-19, а также анализу возможностей финансовых институтов стать отличным партнером для малых и средних предприятий под руководством женщин. Разрешите представить спикеров круглого стола. Евгений Сон, координатор программы «Женщины в бизнесе» по Казахстану, Европейский банк реконструкции и развития, и Эсра Киврак, старший финансовый эксперт. Меня же зовут Анелия Мухаммедкаримова, я являюсь экспертом по маркетингу программы «Женщины в бизнесе» и буду модерировать сегодняшнее мероприятие, как и обычно. Прежде чем мы начнем, несколько организационных моментов. Наше мероприятие проходит на двух языках, на русском и на английском языке. Чтобы выбрать язык, найдите в меню, там, где у вас микрофон, камера, иконку «Перевод», да, и выберите ваш язык. Чтобы выбрать презентацию на нужном языке, на русском языке, да, если вы захотите поменять, вот, вы переходите в меню. Рядом с зеленой панелью вы просматриваете экран. Да? У вас будет меню «Настройки просмотра». И там выберите «Демонстрация экрана», «Переведенная презентация». Ну и, конечно же, мы будем рады вашим вопросам. Пожалуйста, отправляйте их в чат, выберите в чате «Модератор», да, и отправляйте свои вопросы. В конце сессии я их все зачитаю. Ну что ж, а теперь мы готовы начать наше мероприятие, и я с удовольствием передаю слово Евгению Сон. Евгений, пожалуйста.
Спасибо, Анелия. Уважаемые гости круглого стола, я рад приветствовать вас сегодня на третьем виртуальном круглом столе программы EBRD «Женщины в бизнесе». Я хотел бы начать с выражения благодарности правительству Казахстана, фонду ДАМУ, партнерским финансовым институтам, а также региональным бизнес-ассоциациям за сотрудничество и вклад в успех нашей программы. Известно, что финансовые институты играют решающую роль в содействии экономическому росту, в том числе за счет более широкого доступа женщин к финансовым услугам. С другой стороны, во многих странах, включая Казахстан, предприниматели с проблемами в получении финансовых услуг. Мы знаем, что женское предпринимательство имеет большой потенциал в создании рабочих мест и стимулировании экономического роста. Поэтому создание равных возможностей для женщин в бизнесе является не только гендерной проблемой, но и экономическим приоритетом. Несмотря на огромные усилия правительств и различных организаций в реализации равных возможностей, пандемия может нанести долговременный ущерб социальному и экономическому благополучию женщин.
Раз, два, три, меня слышно? Зарема, я включила свой микрофон, меня слышно? The market research carried out showed that it is women-led enterprises suffering from the pandemic. Therefore, we should be very well prepared in order to help business women to overcome the crisis. And this objective will be supported by the new financial services and products developed subject to the growing needs of women in business. However, apart from financial component, we know that the women traders need some other non-financial services to support their businesses and minimize the pandemic consequences. And today at our regular roundtable meeting, we will make a presentation of non-financial services to be delivered by the financial institutions. And the financial institutions which offer this range of services will get the payback from the investment and enhance the women in business potential. This is why in countries of our operations, we try to offer to women traders both financial and advisory support. And this approach has been taken as the foundation for our program, Women in Business, through which we provide funding via partner financial institutions and offer some other advisory services for women-led businesses. This is how EBRD is trying to reduce the barriers, both on demand and supply side. And our cycle of virtual roundtables is aiming to create a platform on which we exchange experience, learn lessons from the best practices, and jointly overcome the consequences of this crisis. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Evgeny, for your welcoming remark and for the opening up the meeting today. And now Ms. Esra Kivrak will tell how bank may increase their revenues through non-financial services. And while Ms. Esra is sharing her screen, I will remind you to ask questions through the chat box. Choose me from the list of the participants as moderator and submit your questions to my address. In the end, we will read them out loud. And in order to have the translation of Ms. Estra's slide, you can choose the management button next to the green button, translated presentation. Ms. Estra, over to you.
Thank you, Anelia. Warmest greetings from a stormy day in Istanbul. I'm happy to be with you here, and I hope you and your loved ones are all keeping safe and healthy during these hard times, tough times that we are passing through. As Anelia has indicated, I have spent many years on building a sustainable and profitable SME business model. Women entrepreneurs are largely belong to SME segment. It's by nature. There are many reasons for women not being able to grow, and as they remain as SME banking professionals. Our main focus to build a customer-centric business model and as well as provide a profitable return. Our webinar today focuses on SMEs, how to provide a customer-centric non-financial services, and how we provide return on investment. For some banks, non-financial services in women banking or in SME banking has been considered as a part of corporate social responsibility issue. Yet, this approach is not completely correct. The main argument that we are trying to prove today is in this changing landscape, especially in the post-pandemic era, how we can combine non-financial services with business objectives by a special focus on women entrepreneurs within the SME segment. Now, let me share my slides before we start. Yes. I hope you can all see my slides. Let me make it full screen. In this webinar, in the next 1 hour, we will cover the needs and profiles of different SME segments. Then we will continue how banks can provide differentiated non-financial services by providing one-stop shopping experience for financial and non-financial services. We will take a closer look at non-financial services in the COVID pandemic context. Until now, I described the what part. Then we will look at the how part. How organizational alignment and measurement of non-financial services benefits to the bank. At the end of our webinar, I will share some best practices and key takeaways. Let's start with refreshing our knowledge on why SMEs are significant for financial services and why they are important globally. SMEs are the drivers of economic growth. They are the backbone of many economies. There are 6 million formal SMEs billion formal SMEs. They contribute up to 40% to 60% of GDP growth. They generate 1/5 of banking revenues, and these banking revenues are considered to grow at 7% at an annual rate over the 7 years. This is according to McKinsey researchers. And SME create 7 out of 10 jobs. Of course, SME segment is very important globally, but this segment is not unique. This segment is not homogeneous. Needs of SMEs differ by subsegments. Understanding the needs is crucial to build an efficient SME service model and SME non-financial services. There are 3 segments, as we all know. These are based on the size segmentation. So tailoring our proposition according to the needs is the most important issue that we will discuss for the next 1 hour alongside with the other issues. Now let's take a poll and understand the life, your ideas about your perception of the life values of a Kazakh female businesswoman. What are the dominating life values? A, confidence of future and ability to travel, or life success and well-being of children, or happy marriage and material welfare. Let's see how our audience votes, and I'll later on show you the actual survey results. Let's see how our audience perceives. Yes. Yeah. Now we are sharing poll results. Yes. 56% of our audience says life success and well-being of children are the 2 important dominating life value of women entrepreneurs in Kazakhstan. Let's see. Yes, majority of our participants has already perceived the right life values as indicated in the surveys: life success and children well-being. Of course, ability to work and open personal potential is also high, and this indicates a huge opportunity for Kazakh female business owners to be successful. Globally, 34% of enterprises are owned by women. In Kazakhstan, as you all know, 42% of enterprises are owned by women. So in that sense, you can say that Kazakh women has entrepreneurial mindset. That is very good. And better understanding the needs of overall SMEs is crucial, yet in particular, understanding the needs of women-led businesses is also crucial. So better understanding their life values and their needs can unlock tremendous potential for them. As we look closer into the life values of Kazakh women-led enterprises, this gives us a clue of identifying opportunities to develop additional scalable solutions locally for them. You may think that as banking professional, lending should be a focus. But small businesses need more than just finance. SME banking is not only SME lending. Providing non-financial services alongside finance is effective means for financial institutions to tap into the enormous potential of women-led enterprises. Hence, non-financial services are business development services offered by banks to complement their core financial offerings for SMEs. Providing non-financial service alongside with financial services is crucial in that sense. Now let's take another pool and let's understand and let me learn what types of non-financial services are there in your institutions. Like training and education, business management tools, networking events, mentoring, information. You can choose multiple. You can have multiple answers for that. Let's see what is preferred in this audience. And it's still in progress. Our poll is still in progress. We are waiting for different answers. Yes, and our audience, I have seen in the introduction, by the way, you have done so great business in NFS, and I have seen many inspiring videos and pictures. It's obvious that you have spent a lot of time in training, education, mentoring, that's for sure, information. These are the three leading NFS, non-financial services, that is prominent in our call. Business management and networking events are a little bit low compared to the others, but let's see what type of, take a closer look at what type of NFS are globally being used by other financial institutions. Now, as for information here, business-related information such as relevant updates to tax policy or market research on key sectors. And these informations are delivered to SMEs via websites or publications, or I have already seen the newspaper that you have prepared, newsletters. And also the front office relationship managers in the branch can also be a very good mediator for delivering information, business information to SMEs. Business and financial education, as for education, often they are in the form of workshops or training delivered either in person or digitally, designed to build the knowledge and capacity of SMEs. As for the advice and mentoring, that is the most preferred NFS in our poll. This is also a very effective NFS. It involves direct interaction with knowledgeable resources in person or digitally, such as business coaches, accountants, or legal experts. And as for networking and markets, these involve in-person networking events, facilitation of digital networking tools that support entrepreneurs in connection with peers, with role models, and recognition programs, such as award shows. In these award shows, successful entrepreneurs are at the spotlight, and they create inspiration for the women entrepreneurs. The other examples of networking can be access to marketplaces, trade fairs, or exposure to locations where clients may visit to trade. So this networking and markets non-financial service is very rich in definition. Now, as we are coming to the business management technology, these business management technologies are relatively new non-financial services. The others are being used for so many years, maybe more than 10 years. Many banks have adopted all of these or some of these non-financial services. But with accelerated digitization, financial management solutions such as cash flow management, payroll solutions, invoicing solutions, accounting, bookkeeping solutions are offered by best practice banks, and these offerings can be done by outsourcing to fintechs or building partnerships with existing or established providers. Now, many banks have been offering some of these, or some banks are offering all of these non-financial services. But the most important question is how we design these services. Good design of a non-financial service is a differentiator among banks. How to best design the non-financial services is, again, should be driven from the needs of different groups within this SME segment. First, gender. Gender focus is a differentiator. Secondly, life cycle of the enterprise. What I mean by life cycle is whether the enterprise is at the start phase or at the growing phase. What is where this enterprise in the life cycle? So thirdly, the legal structure. And this legal structure gives, these legal structures give us a very good indication of the needs alongside with business focus of the enterprise and the step size of the enterprise. So lastly, the banking relationship product usage is also an important criteria for understanding the needs of customer profiles. Non-financial services are tailored according to needs, can help banks to build strong relationships with customers, and they differentiate themselves and build their brand as a partner of SMEs and women entrepreneurs. So identifying different profiles in a bank's SME portfolio is the first step of a good design. The most common approach of the banks is identifying the customers who should be managed by relationship managers and the others who can be served from direct channels. So this is about how we serve SMEs in our banks. And we will use these distribution models or service models to identify our needs of non-financial services. So relationship banking tier have comparatively high annual business turnover companies. They are typically served with a dedicated relationship manager. This one-on-one model allows the relationship manager to assess the needs of each enterprise individually and offer customers the right mix of financing and non-financing products in one integrated package. So this relationship banking tier is more formal in internal structures and processes. They have their own staff accountants, so they are larger companies. They have dedicated roles in the company for HR and other key functions. So typical non-financial service offerings for relationship banking tier can be mentoring and coaching to support growth and increase exports. So when they become larger, they are trying to find new markets, and they are more ready to export. Now, from the lens of women entrepreneurs, what is different from the overall SME? In this relationship banking tier, sharing experiences, learning from role models, award events are already being used by many banks. So if you want to tailor according to women entrepreneurs, in addition to the types of NFS, general NFS, we can add these these kind of non-financial services as well. As for direct banking tier, these customers are served in self-service channels, or relationship managers are deployed through a centralized customer service. So they are in nature small customers, what we call as micro customers, and the low end of the small segment. So they are usually less informal. They have less informal processes. They generally use outside accountants, and they usually don't have dedicated roles for key functions. Generally, owners handle key functions and they learn as they go. So the type of NFS can be, for the direct banking tier, can be online tools that their banks offer to manage their business, such as bookkeeping or payroll service, and for other administrative pain points. As we said, the owners are responsible for many key functions, and they need help. The business, day-to-day business administration is their pain point. So providing business management tools is important for them. Networking events such as local trade fairs can also be valuable for this tier. Now, if you look from the lens of women, if we want to tailor this proposition for women, in addition to what I said, in particular, women-led businesses or this tier benefit from education offers that focus on confidence building, negotiation, development of soft skills, leadership. They also benefit from access to mentors and networking offers. Trainings are usually about financial literacy or preparing a business loan. These kind of trainings are very valuable for them. So digital trading is a good way to deliver these offers. Now, if we look at the life cycle of SMEs, one other aspect is the life cycle of SMEs. In this graph, you can see that there are SMEs who are in the launch phase, small in size. So as they develop their business, business as usual phase, it is a surviving the business phase. Now the annual turnovers are growing. And then growth phase, there's a company has a growth aspiration. So in the life cycle, there is a growth phase, and the needs are different in the growth phase. And in the end, the expansion phase is the phase for larger companies. Now the company has been growing more and more, and the needs are differentiated right now. So in the expansion phase, we are considering more larger companies. So the needs of companies differ according to their life cycle. So how can we identify non-financial service needs according to the life cycle of the enterprise? Of course, tools and networks are common denominator. In every phase of in each phase of the life cycle, SMEs and women need tools and networking, but the design is differentiated, has to be differentiated. Now I will share you a few examples. In the launch phase, what can be the possible question that entrepreneurs are asking? How do I register my business? How do I set up my e-commerce operations? Can I speak to other entrepreneurs? So for the launch phase, business register, NFS related to business register information, e-commerce information, providing market insights, and networking activities among by other sector leads can also be very, very valuable for the enterprises who are in the launch phase. At the business as usual phase, BAU, business as usual phase, what are the questions, what are the pain points of SMEs and women entrepreneurs? How do I manage my bookkeeping? How do I manage legal and regulatory requirements? How do I optimize my sales and marketing expenditure? How do I do digital marketing? And how can I manage my administrative functions? So bookkeeping, business management tools are also important for the business as usual phase. Now, as in the life cycle, we are growing to the growth phase. What are the questions that the enterprise can ask is, how do I optimize my cash flow? How can I spend less time on managing HR and payroll? Now, as you can imagine, in the growth phase, the number of employees are increasing, and now HR, payroll, all these issues and pain points are much more prominent right now. So how do I get information on tax management? How can I manage my customer relations? So for this phase, the solutions, the non-financial services needed are more related about customer relationship management, cash flow management, HR, tax management. So they are, the needs are differentiated. But furthermore, the needs of growth phase, we have an expansion phase. And in the expansion phase, as I said, these customers are now larger companies, larger customers. And they already have some concerns. Which markets should I go next? Now they have already have an accomplished market, accomplished sales performance. Now they want to expand their business. So which markets should I go next? How do I choose a bank for my export needs? Where do I hedge my FX risks? Now the pain points are differentiated. Now the pain points are about access to global markets, about risk management, because their risks are increasing compared to the smaller companies. So these are the kind of needs that I share with you, and all can be interpreted as a non-financial service. So the life cycle is an important indicator in identifying the non-financial service needs for SMEs, and in particular women SMEs. Now we have another call. Let's mark the most two important barriers faced by female entrepreneurs in Kazakhstan. So lack of experience in business, lack of free time, non-equal access to financial resources, and lower status of women in society, politics, and culture. So you can mark different answers as well. Let's see which is more prevalent in our group. I encourage you to join to the poll so we have more participants. Yes, the poll is still in progress. Yes. Now, non-equal to access to financial resources is 80% in our small poll audience. and then lack of time, and then lack of experience in business. Let me share with you the actual survey results that has been, I think that has been held. Sorry, I clicked a wrong button. Let me share again. Thank you for your patience. It happens sometimes in this digital webinars. Oops. Yeah. So let me just share with you the survey results, and let's see what has been when it is asked to women entrepreneurs in Kazakhstan in a survey that has been held in 2019. That is, the women entrepreneurs has answered a lack of business experience. So lack of business experience, lack of free time are the most important two barriers for Kazakh women entrepreneurs. It's important to know that because as we design our non-financial services, these surveys or these researches will really help us to identify and to just point out the most important issues. Now, as indicated in the surveys, there are certain systematic barriers that women face. And first one is the sector choice. 70% of women-led enterprises are in the wholesale or retail trade and service sectors. These trade and service sectors are less capital intensive and generally less profitable than those that are dominated by men. So that's why women often have time constraint. The other barrier for women, as indicated in our survey as well, women often have time constraints due to household responsibilities. And in some regions, they are also limited by social and cultural norms that discourage economic independence. And this is not the case, of course, in not so much a problem in Kazakhstan, because the Kazakhs female women entrepreneurs are more than the average global share of women entrepreneurs within the entrepreneurs. So less confidence, one of the barriers is less confidence and less likely to have networks and mentors. So tailoring non-financial services to women-led businesses is very, very important in that sense if we take into consideration of the barriers that they have. Now, given the diverse landscape of potential partners today, banks are moving towards an ecosystem approach where they become the hub for their clients. Why are we just started to mentioning one-stop shop experience? Because one of our most important barrier is time constraint. So that's why SMEs wish to access the most valuable services through one integrated experience. So an experience providing a financial service and one non-financial service together in one place is very important value proposition for SMEs and women entrepreneurs. So as I mentioned, An ecosystem approach to non-financial services relieves the burden of having to search multiple providers. Banks can partner with providers to deliver value-added non-financial services as a part of the bank's overall offer. Let me give you an example, some examples. Like Business Cloud Accounting, provide insights to help women to manage cash flow, provide e-invoicing softwares, provide HR and payroll system softwares, provide them training and mentoring with partnerships. So women in particular benefit more from the ecosystems, one-stop shops, platforms, more than male counterparts, because their main issue, their main barrier is time barrier due to their responsibilities at home. Now, we said banks do use ecosystem approach. So it's impossible for a bank to do all of this on its own. The in-house skills, in-house resources is not sufficient to deliver that. So many banks, as you all know, partner with the different players in the ecosystem. Who are these players? Like universities, like NGOs, non-governmental organizations, or governments who are trying to develop SMEs, sectoral associations, women associations, and lastly, and not least, last and not least, fintechs and acceleration centers. I do give a special emphasis on partnership with fintechs and accelerators because in the digital world, we will start to talk more and more about the business tools that will be done with the partnership of fintechs. So non-financial services aren't just good for SMEs, but they are also good for financial institutions that offer them. So this is our argument. This is our main point that we want to discuss. So how bank can win by capturing this opportunity through ecosystems, through business management tools? Now, banks are increasingly offering automated tools to business customers to relieve administrative pain points. While initially developed by software companies or fintechs, and they were selling their own products to SMEs. Now, banks are recognizing the value added for customers in directly linking those tools with their bank accounts. So banks become banks combining their services with these tools. Banks can win and maximize returns by using innovative ecosystem propositions that addresses needs of SMEs. These are business management tools. And not only SMEs benefit from that, banks also benefit from this offering. How? Because they have access to more information. So that more information, data helps them to customize their offers. And they can make informed decisions, especially for credit evaluation. This data is important for the banks. And they can proactively make proactive offerings for their customers. And by addressing the needs, the customers are more satisfied. They know that their banks understand their pain points, and more leads are generated that helps customer acquisition. And the customers who are already working with the bank are not distracted by others' banks' offers because they know that their banks are providing useful tools for them. And that increases customer retention. So how banks can win by capturing the opportunity through ecosystems? We mentioned about business tools. Now the second is online marketplace platforms. Online marketplace platforms are important players in the ecosystem approach. Especially after COVID-19, the importance of online marketplace platforms increased even more. The platforms such as Amazon, Alibaba, and many other local ones are upskilling their sellers on their platforms. And these upskilling trainings are not limited to the platform usage. They are also providing them transformational information. So this upskilling has potential to deepen their relationship between the platforms and the sellers. And these upskilling trainings position the platforms as important players in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So this trend is tremendously increasing after COVID. You can see more and more online marketplaces to focus on upskilling and capacity building for their vendors. So what's in it for the banks? For banks, a partnership with an online marketplace platform offers access to new customers. So how can banks partner with major platforms? So they can create upskilling programs together, and they can provide an offering, a holistic offering with financial and non-financial services. They can bundle their services within the platform and offer them to the vendors on the platform. So these tailored financial networking and literacy programs by banks also provide banks access to new customers, additional revenue streams, and even visibility to streams of transaction data. This transaction data can be used for credit evaluation or for developing new products. So banks partnering with major platforms that provide upskilling and could also potentially benefit every party. Now, what does online platforms mean for women entrepreneurs? Women are 20% more likely than men to be in the trade sector. So online marketplace platforms offers a ready-made market for them. And these platforms offer education that women can do from home. So further integration of financial services has the potential to be transformational for her ability to operate and grow her business. So why can't a bank partnership with an online platform and provide both financial and non-financial offerings within the platform? So this is these kind of examples we will witness in the future more and more. And we mentioned about business tools. We mentioned about online platforms. Now, online marketplace platforms. Now I will mention about the blended learnings, because blended learning is a model that combines online tools and resources with in-person workshops and workshops on strategic points. And the online courses offers flexibility to time-starved entrepreneurs. So this For this blended education, blended learning has two different phases. One is online tools with a limited number of in-person workshops, and then more scalable digital tools. So the time in between in-person sessions allows entrepreneurs to apply what they have learned before reconvening with an experienced facilitator and network with other entrepreneurs facing similar challenges to share experiences and benefit from each other. So it's not only digital learning, but it's not only coaching, but it's a blended learning which combines both. So this creates a very positive brand awareness for the banks as well. Now, what blended learning means for women is actually blended. Women, as you know, juggle with multiple responsibilities, and the flexibility offered by blended learning's digital components, combined with the opportunity to learn, share, and ask questions in an interactive environment, can meet several needs of women-led businesses. So blended learning provides access to supportive networks, meet mentor figures, and access to financial literacy support for women. Now, as we know, we all live through in a different way maybe, but women-owned businesses have disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. You know, some analysts are already calling the COVID-19 crisis as a crisis of women, and some even call it recession, like she and recession combined. So women disproportionately impacted by COVID. Women-owned businesses are concentrated in consumer-facing roles. That's why they are disproportionately impacted. Women-owned businesses are almost 6% more likely to have closed their businesses than male-owned businesses and have more pessimistic for future than male counterparties. And this research has been done in the late summer of 2020, and until now, most probably more businesses has been closed. Mompreneurs, mothers and entrepreneurs. Mompreneurs face higher care responsibilities at home, and women struggle to adapt quickly to digital operations. And you know, in a matter of days, we had to adapt to all digital conferences, all digital tools. So for women, there's been a little bit struggle to adapt quickly to digital operations. So, especially within the context of pandemic, more focus is required for women-owned enterprises. So as you can see, the challenges can be considered more or less the same as normal times. But now the intensity has increased. Now, less and less time compared to before pandemic. Now, access to new markets are even limited. Networking opportunities are limited. Access to knowledge through in-person or through web events are limited. And by legacy, they have low digital literacy. So they have to adapt very quickly. So these are the challenges, which in the intensity of the challenges have increased. What about the solutions? Now, as banks, we have to be more clear on the impact of COVID on women entrepreneurs. So we have to plan our non-financial services more digital. So you can just identify some digital virtual marketplaces to guide our women entrepreneurs with the help of some digital platforms. And we can provide some customized support for them. Many banks has developed separate lines, helplines for women entrepreneurs during COVID to guide them through many issues that they face. And online sales. So, as I said, in a matter of maybe weeks, women entrepreneurs has to shift their sales online, and banks were the most important players in helping them to shift their sales online alongside with the marketplaces. So banks who have offered on e-store opening softwares or digital marketing training has been very valuable. These services have been very valuable for women entrepreneurs during COVID. So we said that digital trainings and trainings as a whole is an important component of non-financial services. Now, interactive webinars and discussions, networking among participants in a virtual room, or knowledge sharing sessions help women businesses more agile and resilient, be more agile and resilient in the face of a future uncertainty. The contents are different from the pre-COVID context. Now, in the post-COVID context, the content is more navigating the related economic uncertainty, providing cybersecurity, how to adapt doing business remotely, selling online, digital marketing. So the contents are changing. And digital banking platforms provide insights for them, help them how to easily set up an e-store and how to easily access to payment gateways. So in that respect, banks who have partnerships with fintechs and marketplaces has created valuable proposition for the women. So now we have mentioned about the what part and how women entrepreneurs or women-led businesses impacted by COVID and what banks should do or has done throughout the COVID pandemic for women entrepreneurs in the context of non-financial services. So these are all what part. So we have discussed the what part. Now we will discuss the how part. So how organizations derive revenue from the non-financial services. Now, first, organizational alignment is required to derive results from NFS, non-financial services. Let me just go one by one because each of them are very important. And I know that banks in Women in Business program has already developed their strategies according to some or all of these items. Now, a team that develops programming and coordinates with frontline staff. So, for non-financial services, the key success point is a dedicated team for that. So appointing senior level program champions to visibly support non-financial service team. This C-level or senior level support buy-in is crucial. Otherwise, you cannot provide internal or external visibility to your programs. So the senior level, C-level champions or C-level spokesperson is crucial for the success of the non-financial services. Training frontline staff on the value and delivery of non-financial services. Let me tell you, this is maybe one of the most important messages. There are many non-financial services that has been prepared at the head office, at the central team level, and publicly announced. And when a woman entrepreneur or woman-owned business goes to the branch and talks to her RM, and if this RM doesn't know anything about this program, that is not a good sign. So train your frontline staff. Train your frontline staff in each and every step that is being done for the non-financial services. And that has to be on a periodical basis. As I said, continuous communication by senior management, reiterating that program is a strategic priority for the bank. That is extremely important. Implementing a consistent measurement and evaluation system driven by stated non-financial service objectives. Now, this is also a very important point because in the beginning, I said that some banks consider non-financial services as a part of their corporate social responsibility. But I will explain you in the next slides that this has a business aspect, and this has a very, very important business aspect. But the measurement is important. Planning is important. KPIs are important. So implementing a consistent measurement and evaluation system is a key success factor. So communicating the potential benefits to staff by tying performance objectives with non-financial service targets. Continuous communication with the staff about the performance, or performance is also an important bullet point for the success of non-financial services. Now, I have been joined in many discussions. I have been a part of many discussions about the costs of the programs. So, as you know, these, of course, implementing some business tools, arranging some networking events, these are all investments. And some of these investments can be considered as capital expenditures, so that you can accrue in years. As SME bankers, you can just allocate the capital expenditures to next years. And some of them are operational expenses, of course. So you pay it on the spot. But identifying the CAPEX, this is capital expenditure, and operating expenditure, is important to identify the costs of the program. So some returns will take 6 to 2 years to see. So I think the CAPEX approach should be also considered when you are booking your costs. And funding is mostly allocated from the marketing budget in line with the SME business line budget. This is a common practice within the banks. So marketing budget alongside with the SME banking budget. Sometimes when you are developing a tool, it's also allocated from the IT budget as well. So how to integrate measurement into the program design and delivery, as I said, is a success point, key success indicator. As we mentioned, the benefits of non-financial services are improved client growth, increased interest and non-interest income, improved customer retention and loyalty, and lower portfolio risks. Now we all know that. How can we convert these key benefits into metrics that are measurable? Now, as for improved client growth, we can interpret it to KPIs as brand awareness and perception scores, or number of women businesses acquired through non-financial service events or digital platforms, or improved business acquisition compared to baseline. Let me just open a parenthesis here. When you are integrating a metric-driven approach, you have to have a baseline, okay, to see the improvement. So just know the starting point and then measure the improvement through time. As we said, another benefit is interest, increasing interest and non-interest income. And when we convert it into KPIs within the lens of women customers, number of products per customer, increase in deposit account average balance, increase in loans, average loan ticket size, in interest income through increased lending, non-interest income, net banking income. Now, one might argue that this can be even managed, these increases can even be managed without non-financial services. But the researchers has indicated otherwise. So the researchers, I will show you in the reference slides as well. There are surveys with the banks, and it has been proven in numbers that the customers who have been involved in non-financial services has outpaced the others in increase in loans, increase in deposit average, and increase in interest income. So another important key benefit we mentioned is improved customer retention and loyalty. So the KPI metrics that we can adopt, we can use is client retention rate, cross-sell ratio, churn rate, that is the attrition rate, share of inactive accounts, number of products per customer, and net promoter scores. I don't know if you are already using net promoter scores, but in Turkey, for example, it's a common application within the banks, and in segment-wise, Turkish banks are using net promoter scores, and can directly identify the effects of non-financial services from the net promoter scores as well. And we mentioned the other key benefit is lower portfolio risks. And if we interpret it into KPIs, it is the non-performing loans roll rate. So why I say roll rate? Because non-performing loans is nature, has a legacy effect. But if you look at the roll rate, so each year you can see how many new customers are added to the non-performing loans portfolio. So you can have a better indication of impact by looking at the roll rate rather than looking at the whole non-performing loans. Yes, I can hear you saying that, okay, that's good, but how can we measure? Some banks are more lucky in the sense of the technology or MIS systems, but some banks have difficulties. So one of the challenges regarding to measurement is not having a shared criteria for being a women SME. So now we have a women in business definition, that's good. But for some banks and for some researchers, it has been a glitch as well. So this shared criteria for being a women SME has to be accepted, very well known across the organizations. So that's important when you have the sex disaggregated data. This definition is very, very important. And in legacy systems, we know that there's a lack of sex disaggregated data, and it's time to start to flag women entrepreneurs, women SMEs within the systems. And in many banks, data is sitting in multiple data silos. Payment systems has its own data, credits has its own data, marketing has its own data. So in some organizations, these legacy data silos make it more hard to efficiently mine the data for identifying women SMEs. But with advancing technologies and with the banks leaving their legacy systems, I think this risk is being this risk will be diminished soon. And identifying non-financial service participants is also another challenge when we consider how to do it in the MIS system. So now let's just think of how we can mitigate these challenges. Okay. Now I will give you some clues, some tips. The more data gathered to measure the returns of banks of investment in women SMEs, the stronger the case will be. Now, you have seen the KPIs, I have shown you, but you don't have to use all of them. Just choose 2 or 3 KPIs that will be best to show the benefits and focus on tracking those. Do not identify many KPIs. Just focus on 2 or 3 of these. Choose amongst them. Implement a process of capturing gender of SMEs. So within the definition of women in business, or women-led businesses, or women-owned businesses, or women entrepreneurs, or women SMEs, whatever you call it, implement a process of capturing the gender of SMEs. Determine what level is realistic to track based on capacity and existing IT infrastructure. Look at your systems. What do you have? What do you have? What you can have further? What is the capacity of the system? Just try to organize your measurement according to the capacity of your own IT infrastructure. Of course, getting help from the data partners. Setting a clear starting point for all KPIs, as I said, baseline study is important. So what is the starting point? What is the development? Implement ongoing performance monitoring for frontline staff. So do not think of non-financial services as a marketing activity, as a CSR activity. Just involve frontline staff. Involve even security guards should know that the bank is doing a networking event. So this is important, the ownership of all the organization. So let's share the best practices from different aspects. Of course, there are more and more good practices. I'm sure that in your banks you have many good practices. But I will refer to the points I mentioned when I give these best practices. Now, Guarantee BBVA has been one of the best practices on banking on women entrepreneurs. And I was actually running this program when I was the head of SME business line. So let me say we in that sense, because I was owning this program. Now, the first pillar that we used was encouragement. You know, the most important barrier is in Turkey has been the lack of encouragement for women. The second pillar is access to finance. As indicated in our pool, access to finance is another barrier. Training and mentorship is the third pillar that we built our program. And then growth. Encouragement, what has been done by creating role models, sharing best practices, online and offline events, Women Entrepreneur of Turkey awards, events, all of these were a part of encouragement. For the access to finance, we used special loan bundles, special pricing, and we differentiated our KPIs to sales teams who acquire women business. So we included the staff with some targets as well. Training and mentorship. So we use digital tools to scale training. And one of the success of the program was a very good partnership, very successful partnership with a Turkish Women Entrepreneurship Association and a very distinguished university in Turkey, and also government agencies who wants to invest in the growth of SMEs. So that was an ecosystem approach. And as for the growth, support to find new markets by online tools, a partnership with a Turkish exporter platform, and it was we white labeled this platform and provided easy access to our women customers. And of course, for the growth, we organized events with trade associations to guide them how to do export, how to manage risks, macroeconomic indicators, and these were all worked very well in the perception of women entrepreneurs in Turkey. And at some stage, Garanti was the most prominent choice of women in the financial sector. And this is another example, again from Turkey. This is QNB Finance Bank. And this is an example of how non-financial services are transformed into beyond banking digital services. This initiative has been started in 2019. It's relatively a new initiative. And Digital Bridge Platform, the name of the platform is Digital Bridge Platform. And as I have given the example of one-stop shop, this Digital Bridge Platform provides all in one place privileged services and products such as e-invoice, e-ledger, e-archive, e-waybill, HR management softwares, bookkeeping softwares, e-store setup, inventory, and workplace management tools. And in 2 years, this bank has reached 50,000 customers with the help of Digital Bridge Platform in addition to their own existing portfolio. And they also launched a Digital Bridge Academy last year to assist clients in managing their firms in line with the new technological advancements, to enable clients to come together with specialists in different business areas, to provide them with the opportunity to get online trainings based on their needs. And one of the examples is from UK, NatWest. And Women in Business Initiative positions NatWest as the #1 bank supporting female entrepreneurs in UK. So this initiative targets entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs who has annual turnovers less than £2 million, and that makes the 98% of female sole proprietorships. So they involve the across all female sole proprietors in the program. Now, this program has also 3 pillars, and you can see the life cycle approach here as well, the need approach here as well. Now, let me share with you the information pillar. They name it Self-Made Entrepreneurs Hub, and they partners with Every Woman online platform to offer inspiring success stories, information, and education on how to access finance. And as for the information, the second initiative is NatWest Business Hub. It offers an online source for all SMEs that offers information, articles, and practical toolkits. And Women in Business integrates some content into the hub, including information on upcoming Women in Business events. So within the Business Hub, general for SMEs, they created a women lens within the approach. That's also a very good example of how general products, general services can be differentiated for women entrepreneurs. Education pillar is NatWest Entrepreneurs Accelerator. Now you can see that this is correctly in line with our life cycle approach. Women in Business builds visibility for and encourages women to participate in the bank's pre-accelerator and accelerator programs for growth-oriented businesses. 40% of participants in the accelerator are women, significantly higher than the norm for accelerators. And that is important because there's also a general approach of the bank, general non-financial service of the bank. But again, they have provided a women lens into this initiative. That's also a very good example, combining life cycle and combining gender approaches. And the last pillar is networking and markets. Women in Business networking events host events to help entrepreneurs and increase both their business knowledge and networks and deepen engagement with the bank. This is a most common type of networking events that many banks are doing. And Back Your Business. So this is also very interesting. Women-led startups compete on the crowdfunder platform for visibility. So this is also a good example of the life cycle and partnerships. And they partnered with the crowdfunder platform, and also they address to the launch phase or startup phase of women entrepreneurs. And NatWest Every Woman Award is an annual award that recognizes successful women in business as role models. This is also a very common example of encouragement for women and making role models visible. I have included the BLC Bank Women in Business program because that has a holistic view of everything we have covered. And the success of this program is coming from a strong buy-in from C-level and conducted by a metric-driven practice. So they have done this two requirements in a very successful way. This bank is in Lebanon. Now, as they start the program, they appointed a brand manager. And they appointed a highly motivated team. And within the branches, they have identified champions and ambassadors, not only within the branches, but also within the other departments. They have identified champions and ambassadors for Women in Business program. So they were proactively selling their products or pitching their products. They partnered with women associations, and they went highly digital. Even before COVID, they went digital on social media, on different platforms. So they use digital very efficiently. They customize their products and services. They have done many qualitative researches, surveys, and they understand the full banking relationship and the needs. And for non-financial services, they partnered with SME Toolkit. They have done seminars, workshop, networking events. As we have mentioned, the BLC Bank Award, like the Best Women in Business of the Year awards. And they have worked with internal and external advisors. They have created a dedicated platform, and they have done many roadshows to rural areas to make the program visible. They have a distinct branding. They call it We. This is women entrepreneurs, We communication. And in every communication, internally and externally, they repeated the message. They repeated this message with the branding. Data and customer services strategies. So they have managed to do the gender flagging. They have identified their KPIs, and it has been now more than maybe 5 years, and each year they have identified KPIs monitored for the program. And they capture lifetime events within their management information systems. So if the company is in the launch period, growth period, so they have some kind of indicators for that. And also they are tracking the performance, and they are rewarding their staff for this. Now we are going more and more digital, and I'm giving an example of two examples partnering with a platform, with a digital platform, in order to create a unique experience for SMEs and women entrepreneurs. This platform is called Global Linker Platform, and Union Bank from Philippines, Union Bank of Philippines, and in India, ICICI Bank has partnered with this platform. And now I'm sure that there are many banks are partnering with this platform. This platform you can think of like LinkedIn or SMEs, but it's more than that. And let me just show you what is the value proposition of this platform and the banks who are partnering with this platform. Now, enabling digital presence for SMEs, and in particular, women SMEs if preferred. E-business cards, business profiles, catalogs for products, intranets within the company, within the enterprise, they can have their own intranet, and HR solutions that are provided to the SMEs. Networking and learning is another pillar, and you can have different connections within your community or within the different groups. You can create groups for exports, group for sector, group for women. So you like LinkedIn groups or other social media groups, you have this ability. And knowledge sharing on the platform, and this is customized according to the needs or the life cycle of the SME. And inspirations, videos, success stories, and also periodic webinars about how to conduct your business, how to conduct your administrative responsibilities, and others. There are so many useful webinars on the platform. So another opportunity feature that is provided by the platform is business-to-business listing. So you can just identify any kind of sector from any other country that is in the platform. Any other, you can reach SMEs in other countries as well. So supply chain, you can also have a logistic partner in the platform. So you can see your all of your transportation stream. So you can just create your own store in a DIY, do-it-yourself manner. And SMEs can team up to make a group buy. And also SMEs can reach to marketplaces. And the last function of this platform, super platform, is access to deals with third parties. Like all of these are the other service providers for SMEs, like Microsoft, Vodafone, Shutterstock, GoDaddy. So all these kind of providers are invited to the platform to have discounts for women or for SMEs. So this is a good example of the platform approach, one-stop shopping approach. Now, I'll just wrap up and share with you my key takeaways. Now, an institution cannot simply plug a model from the market and insert it into its operation. It must design with the unique and specific needs of its institutional model, context, and clients in mind. To develop effective non-financial services value proposition, qualitative research is required to understand needs and underlying constraints limiting women-owned businesses' success. Non-financial services can successfully be leveraged to foster growth for women SMEs and drive returns for the institutions that serve them. Banks should have agility to evolve along within the market and their clients. So the message here is the model that you have built should evolve, should not be static. Non-financial service offerings by partnerships with fintechs, online marketplace platforms represent transformation of non-financial services to beyond banking services and gaining importance in the post-COVID era. We will talk more and more about beyond banking services because now the ecosystem is expanding to different players and banks will not be the only solution provider for SMEs or women entrepreneurs. So partnerships to provide beyond banking services in cooperation with fintechs or online market platforms will gain importance. Non-financial services provides an opportunity for banks to deepen their relationship with customers, differentiate themselves, and build their brand as a full-service partner for women in business. This is so in strong economy, in strong economic, macroeconomic conditions, and this is same in times of crisis. So customers value what they do for them. And to do that, institutional alignment drives results. Data is critical to demonstrate the value of the program to senior management and justify its expansion. Measurement justifies the cost. Positive returns can be demonstrated through identified key metrics around the benefits of branding and awareness. So there are some references that I use for the indication surveys. These are very good reports that you can refer to later on. And that is all for today. I hope I just been on time, maybe a little bit.
Абсолютно, Эсра, все в порядке со временем.
You're absolutely on time, Miss Esra. Thank you so much, Esra, for a very complete perspective of the opportunities for financial institutions in managing the women in business. I have several questions listed from the participants. I would like to read them out loud, but we will go answering them one by one. Okay. First question, what are the common objectives from the senior management to develop an FS program and how to overcome those?
Anelia, if you can translate, I can answer because I cannot been able to have the interpretation.
Okay. What are the common objections from the senior management to develop non-financial services program on how to overcome them?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Now, senior management, if you cannot make your argument in a very measurable way, sometimes senior management might perceive all of this as a cost-bearing or nice to have services. But these services has direct impact on customer satisfaction, customer experience. So as I said, measuring, and starting with a baseline, making your argument to the senior management and making it in a sustainable way. And sustainability of the program in the process of the program. So you can change the content, okay? You can change what you communicate, what you train, you can adapt to changing needs. But the process with the staff, the process with the upper management has to be sustainable and well-defined. I think that is the key success factor for the buy-in of management as well.
Okay, great. So the second question is, some of the financial institutions create a separate brand for their non-financial services. And do you think that we need a different branding for non-financial services to be offered by the financial institutions? What are the advantages and disadvantages of having a separate brand for NFIS?
Having a separate branding for women non-financial services is good to attract new customers. Okay, but as I said, banks have many products, so you don't have to generate new products, very new products for women entrepreneurs. You can just wear your women lens into the existing products and make them more visible for women. Make them more, women will be attracted to these. So I think the most important approach will be making it more visible for women by branding. But for general non-financial service branding, it has to be within the day-to-day practices. So it has to be the approach of the bank. So the customers will know that this bank is thinking of their welfare, thinking of their growth, and trying to make something really valuable for them to invest in their growth.
Okay, thank you, Esra. And final question that we have. Could you please elaborate more on women entrepreneurs competition you have been organizing with Guarantee Bank? What were the rationale for launching such an initiative, and what were the benefits for the bank for organizing such a competition?
Yeah, thank you so much, because this is a very interesting story for me as well. That has been now, let me say, 13 years back. Okay, it was many years back. It has started as a Women Entrepreneurship of Turkey Award. And what has been done at first, it was just like a marketing or a branding initiative. So in the first years, the staff was not so much interested, okay, at the first. So as I said, this is a learning curve. We all learned from our experiences. So that's why I am telling this like a story. Then over the years, over the next year, just 1 year after the first award. What we have did is, we have identified champions within the regions. You know, the organization of Garanti Bank is like 900 customers and 20 regions. So regions are very strong in that sense. So we identified ambassadors within the regions to communicate with the branches and have given them targets to invite customers to the award. So I said that's why frontline officers are very important, because they know the women customers locally. They are their relatives, they are their friends, they are their neighbors in the rural areas, in the smaller cities. You know, not of course not in Istanbul, but even in local places and in even larger cities, this worked because they were just trying to promote the program and trying to invite women into the award. The first reaction from the women entrepreneurs was, "Oh, I'm not that big. My company is very small. So I will not win that." So what they said that it's not important to get the award. It's important for you to write your accomplishments. And then even the non-finalists or even the one who has not been selected in the first 100, they were just saying that, "Oh, I realize what I have been accomplished." So it's like, you know, you are touching them, you are touching. So this woman has been more aware of being a woman entrepreneur. Maybe that was something that they never had thought. They were trying to survive, they were trying to earn money, but at some stage, banks have given them the awareness of how they have been successful in even setting up a business. So that's why, in that sense, it worked more than it's, you know, it was more than an award ceremony. And of course, in the end, we had some finalists, and we have published the finalists' stories, all videos on social media, and that has been, you know, even increased the interest throughout the years. And each and every year, the nominee, the nominees that has been submitted their submissions, let's say, has been increased throughout time. So I think that was more than an award ceremony, but many women entrepreneurs that are in the market right now, very well-known ones, has been the finalists of this program. So we were, as Garanti, we were the early movers, and we have taken the advantage of it.
Супер, спасибо большое, Эсра.
Super, thank you so much. And we have one question from the participant. I see that Dildora is raising your hand. Dildora, my colleagues will unmute you and you will be able to ask your question personally.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Dear Esra Hanum, I would like to thank you for this extensive and comprehensive presentation. Actually, it's inside of Garanti Bank and other Turkish bank experience. It's actually valuable for new initiative of EBRD in Central Asia, especially for Uzbekistan. My question, based on your experience, what kind of incentives should be used to motivate banks to collect sex disaggregated data? As you already mentioned in your presentation, it's one of the key challenges, and also to design efficient NFS system delivery. Thank you.
Yes, you have really pinpointed the most important pain point in this. Now, what we have experienced in Garanti Bank is we have involved staff into this flagging practice. What we have done, we have created a certain area within our CRM system, and we wanted our team to flag the woman in business. The definition has evolved over the years. First, it was only like the ownership 51% or more, and then the definition evolved into management roles prominent in women leadership, and the flagging of staff is very important to identify the customer data. For sole proprietors, as you know, it's very easy. You can it's just the gender of the customer, man or women. But for limited companies, for other type of legal structures, it's getting more and more tough to understand the management structure, ownership structure. So that's where we need, we may use the combination of data and knowledge from the staff, and provided them a flag to identify the women customers. But even even using the gender approach for sole proprietors, we have managed to flag, let's say, 70% of our whole women portfolio, because most of the women entrepreneurs, unfortunately, are small. They are sole proprietors. Not many of them are limited companies or having more complex legal structures. But we have been able, as I said, to make a blended approach by using the staff and by using the gender data. I hope this has been.
Anelia, hi everyone, this is Erdal. Maybe I can also provide a couple of points to Dildora's question. Dildora, unfortunately, we have a notion of absent entrepreneurs in Turkey. So on the paper, you see the name of woman, but at the background, when you check in detail, you see that actually woman has nothing to play in the company. And it is a corrupted or a man with a bad credit history. It could be husband, it could be, I don't know, your father or somebody else. But he is running the business. But just because of those other reasons, the company is on the name of woman. So the first incentive you are providing to the bank, you will know for sure what kind of a, what kind of a profile or what kind of a target group you are dealing with. You will understand the target group better, because unfortunately, at the first point, your data is not clean. So the first step would be cleaning the data and disaggregating real women entrepreneurs in your portfolio. And afterwards, I will say that the second incentive we are providing is, as Esra Hanım mentioned quite well, you would like to know the results to convince your top management that this is actually a profitable business line. This is not something we are doing for CSR. Of course, I mean, CSR component is still valid, or sustainability component, but actually this is a business line. This is a profitable business line. And in order to convince the top management, you have to show them some numbers, and you have to know where did you start? So you have to know those baseline figures and clean baseline figures. And afterwards, after a couple of years, you have to prove your top management that, okay, this is where we have started and this is where we are going forward. This is where we ended up. So this is the progress. If you would like to prove this approach, prove that this is a profitable business line, then you would need those sex disaggregated data. So these are the two main, let's say, motivation points, or the main points we are providing to the top management of those partner financial institutions we are working with.
I completely agree. Yeah, that was an important point, Erdal Bey. Thank you. The hidden man within the data is an issue.
Спасибо большое. Ну что ж, Эсра, я уверена,
Thank you so
что
much, Esra. I'm sure that the materials that you shared and your personal story will inspire participants of the event, our banks, to make very important steps to address the women segment, the women entrepreneurs. Thank you so much. So, we are about to end our event. Dear participants, let me wrap up the messages of ESRA, which is the five-step approach to benefit women in business from the non-financial services. First, financial institutions use criteria from their marketing information system to define SME subsegments, in particular to identify women-led SMEs and flag them in the back system, like we discussed just now. Secondly, banks discover and describe subsegments, needs, and profiles, and the needs as well as profiles of women-led SMEs to develop differentiated value propositions for women. Thirdly, financial institutions create a WIB program tailoring non-financial services with a particular customer profile. And Mrs. Esra perfectly explained how to do that on slides 12, 13, and 14. And by the way, I'd like to highlight that the video recording of our roundtable will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and the link will be sent by my colleagues to the chat box. You'd be able to see the previous recordings too. And once, as a bank, once you have tailored the non-financial services with a particular customer profile, at the same stage, a bank can consider an ecosystem approach, partnering with a range of NFS market players. Then, financial institutions develop a budget and strong measurement system to show the NFS's profitability. And finally, a bank provides organizational alignment to launch a program and achieve results. As any program development is a continuous improvement process, the steps can be revised as many times as needed when a bank gets results from its measurement system. So, dear participants, in order to wrap up, could you please provide your feedback about our event today? Could you please provide your feedback about the topic we discussed? And my colleagues will launch a poll. And the second question in the poll is about the topic for our next event. Could you please flag the topic that will be most interesting to you to discuss? And this will probably become a topic of our next event.
Пока мы получаем результаты
While
опроса,
we are getting responses for the poll, let me remind you once again that the video recording of this event will be uploaded at our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to come back to the ESRA's presentation as is most convenient to you. And the previous recordings have been already uploaded to our channel. And the link to the channel you can find in the chat box of our event. Please subscribe in order not to miss the next recordings.
ну что ж, спасибо вам большое.
So thank you so much for the results of the poll. And let me announce our conference closed and see you again in June. Goodbye.